Hey, welcome in. Hope you're having a great Saturday. Dennis Fithy in here on the Maize and Blue Reviews, Michigan Basketball Postgame Live. Michigan taking on Michigan State up in East Lansing. We're ready to talk about it with you here. You want to get in and get your thoughts on the game, you can leave a message. We'll rate it on the air. If you're on Twitter and you want to use spaces, we'll put you on the air and we can talk about it. It is 59-53. That is the final. That's how it went down. This was a game that was an ugly one through most of the first half. And from a Michigan standpoint, I thought Michigan did a pretty good job getting some good looks in this game. In the opening few minutes, it played good defense and got the kind of shots that you'd say, hey, you wanted. But after a while, you got to hit some of those shots, and they weren't able to do that. And we'll look at how this game transpired and what really went down. We've got it now, 59-53, the final. Michigan loses their first Big Ten game in conference, 3-1. That's where Michigan State is at in the conference, but State 11-4 on the year. Michigan drops to now 9-6 on the season. If you were looking at this game coming in, I heard Gus Johnson right at the end say it was a 4.5 point spread. I thought it was a 3.5, but it could have moved. And so those free throws at the end were important if you had bet on the game. The Ken Pom numbers heading into this one, both teams sitting right next to each other. Michigan State at 44, Michigan at 45, but really brick city to start. Really neither team able to hit anything. Michigan State puts a couple things together before the half, and they lead it by 9 at the break. From a Michigan standpoint, Terrace Reed Jr. leading Michigan with 5 points at the half. About all you can say when you talk about the positives for U of M in the first half. It was ugly. And again, I think you go back and you look, and they had the kind of shots. You had Joey Baker. He had 3 really good looks in the first half, I think consecutively, and he missed all 3. All of them were good looks. I mean, they weren't air balls or anything, but he just couldn't hit them. And meanwhile, Malik Hall came off the bench for MSU, and he had about 7 right in that spurt when Baker was missing those 3s, and that's how State was able to get that lead by 9 at the half. But you look, Michigan 1 of 9 from downtown in the first half. They shoot 26.9%. You're not going to win. I don't know who you're going to win against shooting that way. I don't think anybody. Let's say that. And then Hunter Dickinson, 2 of 6 for 4 points in the first half. And then another thing that jumped out is that Michigan had been one of the best teams, I think the second best team turnover-wise in the country. And then you look down at the numbers in the first half, and I'm like, wow, man, they really couldn't shoot. They couldn't shoot, and they turned it over. So that is not the kind of combination that you want if you're a Michigan fan. Now, you get into the second half, and then State comes out. If coaches talk about this in football, they talk about it in basketball, whether it's 4-minute increments, whether it's the last 4 minutes of the half, the first 4 minutes of a half, whatever you're going to do. But State comes out and slaps a little 5-0 run to start the second half, and they get it by, double figures. Michigan did cut it to 9 there for a minute, but then there was a long time where it was State enjoyed a double-digit lead. Really till the 5-minute mark where Michigan makes a little bit of a run. Hunter Dickinson gets a layup. Kobe Buffkin gets a layup with 4.5 to go, and it was a 6-point game. You get down where it's, under 5 minutes and you're down 6 points, you have to really play well on both sides of the ball. Michigan did all right defensively, but, they missed a free throw in there, and they had some opportunities, but when you are trailing like that, you don't have to be perfect, but you got to be pretty good. And Jet hit some free throws and got it down to 4, but the big shot for Michigan to be able to pull this game within a one possession game and really would have cut it to two was just over 2 minutes ago. Terrence Williams the second had a 3-pointer and he threw it up there and missed it. That would have cut it to two, but State from there making some plays. Michigan would get a bucket, but State would come back. Hogard was pretty good for MSU, and it spells Michigan losing this game. So, what do you think? I mean, you're a college basketball fan, and you watch this one. I don't think anybody was expecting Michigan to go in and beat Michigan State. It's always a tough place to play, but considering that Michigan had won their first two games, they were at home against Maryland and Penn State. You're thinking, hey, if they really have turned some kind of corner or kind of making a little statement here in 2023, go up to East Lansing and win that game. And then people will, you'll force them to take notice. And I think there's a lot of people that start paying attention to college basketball around here, let's say in Michigan, especially in Southeast Michigan, especially Michigan fans, once the football season is over. And, you can excuse a lot of those fans. I mean, football was playing for some pretty big things. And so this may have been the first time that Michigan fans are really tuned in and say, okay, let's see what Michigan's got. Won a couple games here. Real disappointment against a Central Michigan last week, but winning two Big Ten games. Let's see how they play up in East Lansing. Good barometer, good test. I mean, you always know what you're going to get up there. It's going to be a tough game, and it was. And I think a lot of people could have turned away. I think both work from this one. It was midway through the second half, and the only bright spot Michigan had was their freshman Terrace Reed, a junior who had 5 points at the break, led Michigan. He made a couple other plays, but Michigan did, I'd say, finally, with desperation and everything else, they did start pounding it down to Hunter Dickinson. He did start making some plays down there. He would throw opposite, and guys just couldn't knock down a shot, knock down a 3-pointer. And I credit Michigan State for their defensive game plan, whether it was not doubling Hunter Dickinson, then it would run a guy at him, and then it would be run two guys at him, force the ball out of his hand. And, he was clearly, I don't want to say frustrated, it just clearly it wasn't working. He wasn't able to get anything going because they would double him. And when that happens, you have to make them pay when you're Michigan and you have a wide open 3-point shot. And, on this one, Michigan shot 3 of 20 from downtown. That wasn't going to do it. 1 of 9 at the half, and then 3 of 20. That's really the tail of the tape when you look at this one. I think when U of M goes back and they're looking at the film, I think that they'll like the shots that they got for the majority of the first half. I think they'll like the way they played. They had some unforced turnovers, for a team that was really good taking care of the ball. They're not going to like that, but for the majority of the first half, they were getting good shots. They just weren't able to knock them down. And then you get down by double digits and you put yourself where you're going to be when you do make a push. You put yourself in a position where you got to start doing a lot more than the other team who's got a little bit of wiggle room. And in Michigan, while they start fighting there in the last 7 minutes to make it a little bit of a game, they weren't able to make those big plays down the stretch to kind of win on the road like you have to make if you're going to be able to do that. So that's how I saw it. And now Michigan will see Michigan State again, and they'll see if they can return the favor to the Spartans in Ann Arbor in February. We'll look at the box score here. It's probably not going to be pretty when you look at this game and how it went down. Well, let's check the upcoming schedule, and that is brought to you by Amazing Blue Reviews. Good afternoon, Michigan football and basketball. You can hear that at 1 o'clock weekdays on this channel that you're listening to, watching right now. Well, Michigan has a couple days off, and they will head to Iowa City. They will take on Iowa coming up on Thursday. And then a week from tomorrow, the Wolverines will be back home. They'll entertain the Wildcats, Northwestern Wildcats coming in, and then extending it out. Michigan will head to Maryland, a team that they smacked upside the head on New Year's Day. Maryland will be looking to return the favor to Michigan coming up on Thursday, the 19th. Now, when it comes down to the box score and how that thing looked, again, it's not going to look good. I can tell you that right now. Jett Howard, I was going into this game and I was posted on the Maize and Blue review. I just wondered what Michigan would look like if Hunter Dickinson, Jett Howard, and Kobe Buffkin all played their best games. We didn't get to see that today. I'm going to still wonder that. Jett ends up with 10 points on 3 of 8 shooting. TW2, Terrence Williams, the second, just 3 points. Doug McDaniel, the freshman, the true freshman, going up against Tyson Walker. It's going to be interesting to see. Walker had 21 the other night. How would Doug McDaniel do on the road? First time in this rivalry. The answer, not so hot. 0 of 4, had a couple of air balls in there. Learning experience there for sure for Doug McDaniel. Hunter Dickinson, final line might not look that bad, but just had 4 points in the first half, and then the majority of his 18 coming late in this game. 8 of 16 for Hunter from the field. 18 points, 7 boards. Kobe Buffkin, 15 points, couple boards here, but not enough. Michigan really needed some help from the bench, and they really didn't get it. Terrace Reed Jr. had 5 points in the first half. He led all scores, but Joey Baker had 3 clean looks from downtown in the first half. Wasn't able to connect on any of them. Isaiah Barnes got in, did not score. Will Cheddar got a deuce in the second half after not playing in the first half, but just not enough from the bench. Not enough overall for Michigan if you're going to win on the road. Got to take care of the ball better. You got to shoot better. And you can't get behind by double figures and expect to come back late against a team like Michigan State in their place. So that's how I saw it. That's how it went down in East Lansing. The people want to know about, hey, do you think Michigan is a tournament team? If I had to guess right now, I would say no. The thing about college basketball is you always have opportunities, and you're just beginning the year. You go out and win a couple games you're not supposed to, like on the road. There's a lot of chance to make up some ground. You put together a hot streak, but as it sits right now, the lack of scoring from this team, I think that's the biggest thing that's going to do them in. And there's some pieces there, but they're going to have to do a lot to be able to come together if you're thinking about the tournament. And like I said, you can always put together a push. Of course, you have the Big Ten tournament where you might be able to do something, but the overall strength of the Big Ten, you got to get in. You got to be like one of the certainly top 5 or top 6 teams. Maybe you're talking about top 7 or top 8. And when you just start to look at it and the strength of the conference, that's going to be tough for U of M. But Adam weighing in, saying, no bench. Adam's still hoping in holding out for a tournament bid as an 11 seed. And, I tell you right now, Anna, if you told me, like, it's pass fail when you have where Michigan's program is right now, if they were able to get into the tournament, like last year was going to be a real disappointing season last year. And what did Michigan do? They ended up getting into the NCAA tournament. They ended up winning the first game, winning the second game, and they went the farthest of any Big Ten team. And a year that was down to the end where it didn't look like they were going to get in, they did. It ended up being a great year, but it was nice considering how things looked the majority of the year. And so, they haven't left themselves a lot of outs. We'll see how they're able to do right now. Uh, yeah, I looked at all the Ken Palm numbers and everything else. I've just looked through the schedule. I hope you're right, Adam. I hope that Michigan ultimately ends up getting in. I'm giving you my opinion is how things sit right now. All right. A reminder: we're here after every Michigan basketball game, football game as well. So it's going to be a while before around after a football game, but every basketball game, we crank up spaces on Twitter. We read your feedback, look at the box score, look at the upcoming schedule, talk about the game. That's what we do. And so we will talk with you again, basketball wise, Thursday when Michigan is out in Iowa City. Join me weekdays at 1 o'clock here on the Maize and Blue Reviews for Good Afternoon Michigan football and basketball. Been a lot of football talk, as you might guess, as the Wolverine season and for the Jim Harbaugh and what's going on with the NCAA now. That's taken a lot of our time. But when things happen in basketball, we're going to be talking about basketball as well. And it's basketball season now. So there you go. All right. Once again, the final, not 57-53, as I have written down here. It was 59. I got those fouls at the end. Ended up losing that game by 6, 59-53. I hope that didn't cost anybody, or I hope that helped your ticket out at the end, and you came out a winner where you otherwise wouldn't. I've seen it happen before like that. Everybody have a great rest of their Saturday. We'll talk at you on Monday at 1 o'clock. Till then.